In eastern states, there was emergence of Naxal movement against increased class polarization in countryside. Hello PSIR students, today we are going to discuss a very important topic of Indian government and politics, that is paper 1 section B, that is green revolution and political impact, because green revolution is to be taught in geography also, in economy also, but what were the political impacts of green revolution, that is mentioned in your syllabus and so many questions have been asked regarding it. So first we understand the background before green revolution. After independence, agrarian reforms are broadly categorized into two parts. One, institutional reforms, that is land reforms, that started from 1950, that continued by and large till 1964, although land reforms in piecemeal also continued afterwards. But in wake of 1966 All India famine, there was need for food self-sufficiency and high-yielding variety of wheat was introduced in certain pockets like Punjab, Haryana, Western UP and Ganganagar area of Rajasthan. And within 7 years of launch of Green Revolution 1967 onwards, India became food self-sufficient. So Green Revolution was basically a technological reform where the high yielding variety that was genetically modified was introduced, and there was huge public or government investment on irrigation, on fertilizer, on mechanization of agriculture, so that India could become food self-sufficient, and that purpose was also served. But every concentration of resource had certain negative impact also. Green Revolution had regional imbalance because on one hand the Punjab, Haryana, Western UP and Western states, they developed a lot, while eastern states like Eastern UP, Bihar, Bimaru states, they remain backwards. Odisha, Bengal, Northeast, they remain backward. So that caused huge regional imbalance, and there was attempt from 10th Five-Year Plan onwards on a concrete basis to address regional imbalance. However, what was the impact of Green Revolution on the politics of India? So, first of all, Green Revolution benefited intermediary caste in Punjab, Haryana, Western UP and many other areas subsequently as well. So, Jats in Punjab and Haryana were the main beneficiary of Green Revolution. They already were the beneficiary of land reforms, because when there was dominant caste transferred their land in wake of land ceiling, they were the purchasers. Now they became the great beneficiary of the Green Revolution. So they become more assertive. Moreover, the intermediary caste like Ahir, Yadav or this Gurjars, Rajputs or other intermediary caste like Kurmi, Koiri, they got strengthened in Andhra Pradesh. Reddy and Khams, they became so dominant. In Karnataka, Vokalis, whose representation is mainly done by JDS of H.D. Devagowda, in Kaveri region, they got benefited a lot. The Vokalis on one hand and Lingayats on the other hand. Yadurappa is the Lingayat leader. So these intermediary caste, Marathas in Maharashtra, got major benefit. OBCs also get the benefit, but Dalits and landless, they were at the receiving end. So it is said that Green Revolution was scale neutral but not resource neutral. What does it mean? So theoretically, a marginal farmer having only 1 acre or a smaller piece of land and a big farmer like 10 acres, they should get benefit as per their land holdings. But this theoretical aspect was not practically there, as it was not resource neutral. Big farmer who had more access to resources like fertilizers, irrigation, funds, tractors, harvesters, they got disproportionate benefit. Means more than 10 times the benefit that a landowner of 10 acre got in comparison to 1 acre owner. So disproportionate profit or benefit they got. So big farmers benefited a lot, and small farmers or landless, they were not getting that proportional benefit. So that increased class polarization in countryside. So the gap between intermediary caste and Dalits increased, and now many intermediary caste also in some cases became feudal like oppression to the Dalits. That probably led to reaction also, as in Maharashtra we have Dalit Panthers in 1972. It was inspired from Black Panthers of America. It was not a peaceful non-violent movement. Most of the Dalit movements till this were non-violent, be Ambedkar, be it E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar, be it Kelappan or others, Jyotiba Phule. But 1972, Black Panthers Dalit movement became violent and radical. So that was probably the reaction, that they could not get that much benefit in comparison to Marathas that they got benefit. So in these circumstances, the intermediary caste became more assertive, and the gap between intermediary caste and Dalits increased. So it is said that Green Revolution led to Red Revolution in eastern states, and in western states identity politics. In western states like in western UP, Bharatiya Kisan Union led by Mahendra Singh Tikat. Charan Singh was the agrarian leader who favored more prices for agricultural products, more facilities for farmers. And similarly in Punjab, Akali Dal, who had the main core support of Jat Sikhs, they also got strengthened. So Akali Dal in Punjab, Indian National Lok Dal in western UP and also partly in UP and Bihar, and also the Reddis and Khams in Andhra, Marathas in Maharashtra, Vokalis and Lingayats in Karnataka. So they became more assertive. So this led to identity politics, and many times it is said that the 80s agrarian movements were hijacked by the rich peasants or rich peasantry caste. However, the impact in eastern states was different. In eastern states, there was emergence of Naxal movement against increased class polarization in countryside. As you know, Naxal movement, Naxal Bari is the place in West Bengal in Darjeeling where tea workers were exploited. Charu Majumdar started the movement, and a breakaway faction of CPI, that is CPI ML. Even after CPIM government came to power in Bengal, they wanted radical agrarian reforms, land reforms through bullet, not through ballot and peaceful means. So this also spread in Bihar, now in Chhattisgarh. Red corridor, Pashupati to Tirupati, Maoist violence is exported from China to Nepal, poor societies of eastern India and till northern Andhra Pradesh also. This area was the area which was under Jamindari settlement historically also, in contrast to Rayatwari settlement in South India and Mehalwari settlement in northwestern India. So historically feudal roots and Jamindari roots were so strong that land reforms also did not succeed in these eastern states, and Red Revolution emerged, that is Maoist violence, that is communist violence emerged in these eastern states, and many districts of these eastern states like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Bihar and northern Andhra Pradesh, partly some areas, some tribal areas of Maharashtra also affected by red violence or left wing violence, which is a grave threat to our internal security. So this impact on our politics was not symmetrical. The in northwestern states, western UP and Punjab and Haryana and Maharashtra and Karnataka, like Maharashtra, Sharad Joshi was a peasant leader who started Shetkarni Sangathan. Shetkarni Sangathan for the first time coined the idea of Bharat versus India. Bharat means urban India, which is having civic amenities, which is developed, high quality infrastructure, education and health facilities, roads, electricity. But Bharat, that is rural India, lacking basic infrastructure, drinking water, and the basic infrastructure is also lacking in rural India. So the gap between Bharat and India to be bridged according to Shetkarni Sangathan. Then Rayat Sangathan also in Karnataka. So impact in northwestern prosperous states were different, impact on poor states, eastern states was different. So Red Revolution emerged, that is Naxal movement, because Dalits and landless, they got frustrated that we can never get land by peaceful means, by democratic means. So in place of ballot, we should have bullet to get justice. So in 1980s, on one hand, there is agrarian identity based politics. On the other hand, red violence in 1980s, 90s, and even in 21st century, we have witnessed left wing violence. So that was the impact of the Green Revolution. And Green Revolution also increased conflict between center and states, because in 1967, in 9 states, non-Congress government formed, and those regional parties were demanding more autonomy and more powers for the states, and this led to misuse of Article 356 by the central government. So the conflict between center and states also increased. Akali Dal passed Anandpur Sahab resolution for federal polity, for promoting federal features, to reduce the power of center, to scrap 356. Dravidian parties in Tamil Nadu demanded the same, communist in Kerala and Bengal demanded the same, and Lokdal also demanded the same, that to strengthen federal polity. So there was growth of regional parties, and there was tension between center and states. That latter led to creation of Sarkaria Commission for betterment of center-state relationship. So that center-state relationship was also impacted. The intermediary castes assertion also increased, regional parties also emerged, and Congress traditional equation of BDM, Brahmin, Dalit, Muslim equation, was partly broken by Ajgar, Ahir, Jat, Gurjar and Rajput. After 1990, VP Singh added Majgar, included Muslims in it, to break BDM, and Dalits parted ways from Congress, went to BSP, and the Brahmins by and large shifted to BJP after Mandal Kamandal, and the Muslims also shifted towards Samajwadi Party and RJD and other regional parties. That was the impact latter. But these are the concrete outcome of Green Revolution, that how Green Revolution impacted our politics, our parties, a center-state relationship, intermediary caste, BDM equation, and according to Rudolph and Rudolph, who has studied Indian politics, he says caste, which was a social identity, became political identity after Green Revolution. So there was growing use of caste for mass mobilization. It's not that caste system was new and caste was not used before, but now that mobilization was done with different equation and social engineering. Different caste combination, winnable caste combinations were being formed. So that was the impact, and hegemony of Congress was broken in 1967. That is called sometimes democratic upsurge, and the second democratic upsurge after mandalization 1990 onwards, and after 1989 no party could get majority on its own. So these are the impact of Green Revolution in our political system. Increased number of regional parties, and moreover there are certain impacts like regional imbalance, like more conflict on the issues of water and agrarian subsidy, because the more vocal leadership of Lokdal, Akali Dal, the Shetkarni Sangathan, Rayat Sangathan, and also partly in eastern India, they demanded more resource transfer to rural sector in general and agriculture in particular, because agriculture is in distress. Three perennial problems of our agriculture sector is monsoon, market and middlemen. So the income of peasants and returns are less. So this is the reason why we had to change this. So these are the things which you should know about the impact of Green Revolution on our politics. Thank you.